Hello and welcome to a continuation of our encounter design series where I break down some of the maps, counters, the combat mechanics, but mostly the geography of the battle maps I create for either Out of the Abyss or some of the homebrew adventures, maybe one shots. We're gonna be getting into some of those newer adventures, but I'm gonna be sticking with Out of the Abyss now because it has the most engagement. I've been getting a lot of responses from the community, and it is also one of the most climactic and dangerous battles of the adventure. Now, that being said, it is very homebrewed from the original book, and I am referring to the Maze Engine. The Maze Engine itself is a chapter in here that goes over a very old, powerful relic machine, basically, with tremendous power, and it is very much akin to Baphomet and his realm, and his theme and tones, and Baphomet seeks it in my campaign. Now, additionally, Orcus, Demon Lord of Undead, wishes for it as well, hoping that it will allow him to break the shell or barrier of a sort of cocooned god in hibernation, known as Lyra, goddess of joy. Now, the Maze Engine in here is in a very interesting sort of location within Baphomet's dominion, especially the geography. And I'll bring it up now, but I think it's interesting what I did to change it, but I don't think at all it on its own is needs changing. But I did it to suit my world. I'm gonna pull it up for us right now. Okay, so the Maze Engine. Deep within the labyrinth lies the Maze Engine, a mechanical, magically powered device capable of altering reality. Modrons refer to the device as the Orderer because it was designed is to bring. That is so weird. That is a typo. I didn't say it wrong. Regardless, it is designed to bring order to chaos. If the characters activate the Maze Engine, it has the potential to aid their fight against the Demon Lord. The engine looks like a working model of the Great Wheel in the Dungeon Master's Guide. It's a 20-foot diameter sphere built of 1-foot wide bands of magically hardened and shaped bronze, engraved with arcane symbols. Gaps in the band show various gears and articulation arms within the sphere, which rotate and shift to represent the relationship between the various planes of existence, the various known planes of existence. Characters might learn about the existence of the Maze Engine from the beholder Karazakar, or from Vizerin, who has heard rumors about an ancient reality-altering device. Characters might also learn about the engine from Karazakar's Modron prisoner, or from the Modrons lost in the labyrinth. Now, I had them get tiny Easter eggs, but a full reveal by someone who's been trying to protect and reclaim Lyra's sort of protective barrier and return her to safety. Additionally, they have found a Modron abandoned and were able to repower it. But what it said during that temporary return to life was very mixed, robotic-y, with no context. They weren't really able to ascertain what it was, its purpose, what it was. They've never seen a creature like this, and even one of the players who has a very powerful stone with the minds of very old, powerful wizards and individuals within it, they had no idea what this creature was. And I think that's an important thing to add into the world. Now, it's very, as a dungeon master, a lot of us know what Modrons are. I wouldn't say a lot of players know what they are, and introducing them in the way that I did, where the players already used to pulling from a resource like the Stone of the Aeternum and getting the information when he rolls very high, to then roll very high and realize that even the members of the Aeternum have no idea what this is. That was interesting. So how I ran the encounter that made it a bit different was the background was going to be a bit suffused with the gallery of angels, where there are these petrified angels that they will be able to sort of unpetrify depending on the encounter, and then use their feathers to as the components for the ritual of naming against the demon lords. But I kind of combined the Gallery of Angels and the Maze Engine into a story where Lyra, the goddess of joy, in her final moments before wrapping herself in this divine cocoon, sent a cohort of her angels to stop the Modrons from activating the Maze Engine. And to me, I like creating urgency from the past that has lingering weight in the present. So the Gallery of Angels would have petrified statues of the angels who went there to face off against the Modrons. And it wasn't the Modrons that petrified them, it was an inevitable. Their main leader, so Varus, was able to not only hold off and slaughter many of the Modrons himself along with his angels, but he was able to survive long enough to see that it was impossible to stop the inevitable. However, in that moment of need, he made a deal with a powerful entity that he is aware of, and that individual reshaped sort of the preordained or contract sort of flavoring and will of the inevitable's need to stop these like to defend the Maze Engine. It changed it in a way where as soon as it happened, the inevitable left, as it was no longer necessary for it to stop them. However, the angel, so Varus, angel of joy, is required to remain within a certain range of the Maze Engine forever to keep this part of his deal intact. The players discover this after a very emotional event. I give the context, but I try to make it emotional. You can't always make players feel the way you want them to feel, but a good amount of them did, and they felt the weight of it. The others not so much, but I've gotten used to that kind of mix with the players. There are things that do sort of can pull that out of them, and I've had success. I think this was getting there, and then eventually, especially when the battle began and they realized the gravity of it, that's when things hit. So the final context is Baphomet wants the engine, and also Yeenagu is chasing after Baphomet and the Maze Engine to spite him, and gets the scent and trail of the players, which he's hunting one of the players he has so fondishly titled Zurak, which many of the gnolls that follow Yeenagu are aware of, and when a very important leader in their group notices the players skulking about and trying to circumvent them and get to the Maze Engine before Yeenagu, he actually ambushes his own people to get killed by the players, and then helps them get to the Spiral of the Horn King, which then sets up the encounter at the maze engine, with the players getting there just before Yinagu and Baphomet arrive, and that's where I have the encounter. I basically create a basic triple threat Royal Rumble death match against Solvaris, the Angel of Joy, the players, Baphomet, and Yinagu for the maze engine, as all of them needed for some sort of purpose. Now, I wish I had more of a I don't want to say more prep time or anything. I think the encounter went very well, and I'm gonna show you the map. I'm gonna break down the encounter a bit, but I think it went very well. But it got close, but it got close story-wise, and in some cases death-wise. A player really, Yinagu was doing a number on them, and Baphomet was just almost unstoppable. But he just felt unstoppable. You know, he was taking hits, but he was moving to the maze engine with purpose, with his minions. I won't spoil it too much yet, but after I show the map. So yeah, we'll get into the map now. It came out very well. It came out very well, and I'm happy. I did take a lot of inspiration from someone's version of it from the book. And at times I started to wonder if I needed to make something different, but eventually going back to the book, going back to just creating a map that fit the lore of what I wanted them to see, eventually culminated in a pretty badass combat encounter. So yeah, let's jump onto the map, and I'll show you the maze engine. Welcome to the maze engine. We have the entrance down here, where the players would slowly enter and get a feel for the great battle between the Angels of Lyra, goddess of joy, and the Modrons. As they would come through here, they would see massive sheets of copper and metal and gears on the ground, and slowly see some of the terrain look a bit mechanical, just adding a little to the texture. Eventually it would just build, not just from this battle, but they would see this massive vault door just basically detached from whatever the entrance was. And that actually was something I really wanted to do, and it hit when one of the players was like, "Is that a vault door?" And then like they saw the scale of it with their characters, and they were like, "I don't know." They were like, "I don't know what was behind this, but you know." And then we slowly started see like the stone statues of the angels, and the music that I had worked on for a while, "All Ye Fallen Angel," played, and it kind of like was very sad and tragic as they eventually saw the maze engine with all of these angels sort of pointing at it, like looking towards it in a way. And the maze engine itself came out very well. It's based a bit on the imagery from the book, but another person's work. I'll try to link that. But there's a lot of people, you know, on Reddit and on Patreon that put up a lot of good maps that I felt I was going to use, but I felt I could lend enough of my own sort of hope, like the lore I was going for into it that I needed to change it. Now, like the entrance like layout, I was someone sort of had that, and it kind of for a little bit threw me off, because I didn't want to waste all of this space, but it didn't become a waste because it really lent, as they moved their tokens and witnessed this whole entrance, they built the tensions in their mind and with the music. Additionally, I had use for it if I was going to have Baphomet sort of cast maze on one of them or something like that. I actually wanted them to return to the battlefield all the way over here, and it was gonna be, if instead of casting maze on them constantly, he was going to teleport them to different parts of the dungeon and sort of force them to then have to run back. A mechanic I didn't end up using too much at all, because not having a turn is not fun. And I think sometimes you have to sacrifice what would make sense to allow players to just engage. And that's not in every case. In very big battles like this, I can justify taking away a turn from a player if it makes sense, and if the consequence is justified in the moment. Like if we start casting a ritual and you disregard it, and none of you choose to interrupt it, something's gonna happen. But we didn't get to that. Baphomet erupted from this side of the maze engine chamber with 2 Garistros juiced up, and now it changed my layout. This camera is wild sometimes. It just decides when it wants to zoom in or zoom out, and I've wanted it to get to this, but it hasn't. It's been so zoomed in on me, and now it's decided. We're a work in progress channel still, I guess. Regardless, so yeah, Baphomet is juiced up himself. He's homebrewed a little bit. But not too much. I would say I keep Baphomet almost perfectly as he's statted, but my homebrew sort of traits and juice up that aura that I give him is one of 2 parts. Originally, when you enter his aura, you're gonna have to make a saving throw. You're gonna have to make a saving throw when entering his aura. Was the first homebrew concept, where it was gonna be difficult terrain, or as soon as you entered it, you'd get teleported to a different area if you failed the saving throw. And it was just gonna be like fighting him is like trying to get through a maze. The difficult terrain thing and the teleport were scrapped because he himself and the Garistros were already a threat of just move forward like a freight train. And then Yinagu was just wreaking havoc with his aura, where basically anytime a creature was hit that took damage, he would heal for 10 hit points. And if 2 creatures get hit, 3 creatures get hit. And Yinagu's aura was just so potent. Anytime someone got hit, a creature, he would heal for 10. Now, originally I had it to be 15, but then as I realized this was a dangerous encounter, I pulled it back a little bit, and even that brought so much tension as he was just healing and healing off of hitting them hitting another creature, or whatnot. Like he was just, it was just blood, and he was feeding off the frenzy of the battle. That's when I named it Aura Frenzy. And Yinagu, I changed out his whole his entire what you call it, his weapon, his flail. I ended up giving him Flynn like abilities, mechanics when it came to his flail. On the first hit, he would do a bunch of damage, but it would be like a saving throw. The second was the paralysis, and then the third was like, if you don't survive on this saving throw, not only are you taking the extra damage, you're taking it again next turn. He was brutal. He was savage. Demon Lord of Savagery. And he just took up all of this space here, and I try to have him move around a little bit. I really hate how an encounter can start in a spot and then just stay in a spot forever, and I really had to push it. One of the creatures and minions he had with him was a Shisuva, and I had to like run around, jump on the maze engine, attack the bard. The Flynns kind of stayed around here with him, but they couldn't really move. They were really locking them down a bit until Yinagu threw one of the Flynns at one of the players that was flying on the magic carpet. So there's that. The encounter kind of went as foreseen. Baphomet just charged forward with Garistros, going for the maze engine. Yinagu was trying to kill the party, and so Varus had to make a choice. Now the players rolled a 31 persuasion to get him to join their cause, and the DC was 30. Now you may think I made that up to just be make it difficult, but Varus had no stake in the battle other than to kill whoever was left standing, and if he had done so, he would have done it. He would have easily mopped the floor with whoever was standing, unless the demon lords jumped him together, which he's a powerful being, but he might not have been enough to deal with them. Now, Varus ended up going to stop Baphomet, but this encounter took on a lot of different sort of dramatic changes, because it was also a playground for the players to use a lot of the abilities they've sort of asked for but haven't shown the group yet. One of them, the biggest factor in this, and why I left it as such a difficult encounter, was Ariza, our druid, a bugbear druid, wanted the ability to turn into a purple worm by sacrificing all of her wild shapes. She wasn't able to make it at the beginning, so I sort of flavored it in a way where she was just like nervous, shaking, said it's time to give it a try, went in her bag of bugs and pulled out a really vibrant looking purple worm looking insect, and then ate it and transformed into this massive furry brown worm. And it was awesome. She grabbed one of the Garistros and threw him down the hole and dragged him away. When she eventually came back, she kind of played around with the creature's mechanics a little bit. It was hit or miss how effective she was, because she was still learning that what she could do. It was the first time she got a chance to practice it, and I think it went very well. She took a lot of hits, was a distraction, and bought time. And then on the flip side, the Artificer finally learned the Summon Construct spell, but I crafted each golem to be a bit more unique and allowed him to also supercharge them by sacrificing a spell slot to then give them more kick. The clay golem was able to like extend its arm and grab somebody like in the air or whatever, and then just hold on to them. The stone golem was a bit more tankier, for sure, but it also had let me pull it up actually so I can read this correctly. So I'm bringing up the actual sheet I made for him. The clay golem basically had the ability to use Earthbreaker, which slams both fists on the ground in a 20-foot radius around. The creatures have to make a strength saving throw, taking 4d8 bludgeoning damage. Not a failure, the creature's knocked prone. The wording's not perfect because it doesn't tell you if you take half damage. I just made it just take the damage and then also fall prone. I just wanted it to work and feel good. The clay golem, like I said, could reach out and grab someone and keep it grappled. And then the metal golem had the ability to not only punch like everything else, but create an arcane cannon and shoot that, or maybe just shoot it like from its fist. So it gave him some variety and options. But then if they had also all had passives like living clay. It heals 10 hit points a turn. Strong stone, it gains 10 temporary hit points at the start of its turn. Magic steel, this creature takes 5 less damage the first time it is damaged per turn. So basically this was just a playing ground. And that was Wormiza right here. Oh, I could just let me bring her out. She's a big fuzzy duzzy, sort of like purple worm-esque. I threw some of the tokens back on the map to showcase a little bit. We won't stay here too long. You guys can watch the full encounter on the VOD. But this is where Baphomet came from, and he had 2 juiced up Garistros, 550 health on his own. I eventually homebrewed him to be able to transform the Flins here into Garistros, which made this encounter even harder and really flipped the script a bit when they thought they were getting an edge. These 2 Garistros it didn't work, but Wormiza was able to grab one, buy some time. The Garistro and Baphomet kept going. She returned, and yeah, we had Solvaris eventually fight with Wormiza and Tekel, who would try to buy time against them. But this was where the big battle was, as Xenagu and the Shisuva and the Flins were just wreaking havoc and really splitting the party. But eventually Baphomet got to the maze engine, and you'll have to figure out how that went because yeah. Anyway, this is the maze engine. This is our encounter between 2 demon lords and Solvaris. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what kind of changes to the content you're looking forward to. I hope you check out some more of the new things we're doing. The homebrew adventures have been going so well, and I'm looking forward to getting some new players and new groups going. But it's crazy that we've gotten multiple groups for the new adventure. I'm very grateful because when you work on something so long, you write and you design battle maps and magic items and lore and work on music and write songs. And it was the first adventure that I wrote a bunch of songs that never even got into it. It's been some really crazy good times, and it's crazy how much content has come out. The new subclasses went very well. The new races went very well. I haven't released them to the public, but very soon they're about to be released to the public for your own uses, play testing, whatever, your own adventures. Do what you want with them. They'll be available soon. And yeah, we got a lot going on. So this is Encounter Design. Have a good day. Check out the map, download it for yourself, use it. check out the VODs. Take care. Peace.